What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the most important NYCFC talk show. You guys are hanging with the dudes in blue on this Monday night. Thanks so much for joining us. It's episode number 120. Another milestone there, dude. 120.
Oh, yeah.
I'm your host, Joe Amato, and alongside me, as always,
Antonino.
Dude,
What's up?
What's
What is
happening?
going on? Nothing much, man. These midweek games just throw me for a loop. It's like, what do I do on the weekend?
Yeah. Well, there was plenty of MLS action over the weekend, which we'll probably talk a little bit about as the episode progresses. But before we dive into what we're going to dive into tonight, make sure to give us the follow: Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. We're at Dudes in Blue. You can find us everywhere there as well. Right off the bat, saying hi to Uncle Dom is the first one to comment tonight. There you go. Jorge saying hey. Joey, as always. Christian coming in with the notification squad. What's going on, everybody? Share this with your NYCFC faithful. If you know somebody that might enjoy the show, we invite you to share the episode with them. So, it's episode 120, and we are going to be talking about the final Hudson River Derby that happened last week. It feels like an eternity ago that game actually happened, right?
Ridiculous. So long ago.
We're going to dive into that and maybe just some other shenanigans. You know, that's pretty much it. Oh, Henry's coming in with the comment saying he's watching at a campsite in Delaware.
Impressive.
We are officially dudes in blue in the woods. Hey, dude, speaking of in the woods, NYCFC has gotten themselves into some thick stuff, especially with the results from the weekend. Red Bulls picking up a victory against DC United, firmly placing us in that third place spot, dude, and it's not pretty to see us there, but I've got a feeling that if Atlanta keeps playing the way that they're playing and Red Bulls keep playing the way that they're playing, we're going to be fighting for third or fourth place, depending on how the rest of the Eastern Conference shapes up, because you got Philly making a climb, you got DC trying to fight their way in, Columbus is always a threat, and Orlando is in last place. It's just fun. It's just fun to talk about that. I mean, hey, listen, every now and then a team hits a rough patch. We're not there quite yet, but it's just fun to, make fun of the team that came in with us at the same time, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so let's dive into the Hudson River Derby, dude, because this is obviously the topic of conversation that we didn't get a chance to look at. And, dude, this game was a disaster. I mean, like
a beautiful disaster. Yes, a disaster piece, if you will.
It started off pretty similarly to the last derby, right? Where there was a lot of back and forth, not a lot of things really happening, and then things just started happening.
Yes, indeed. It just looked like no one was comfortable to start the game on both teams. Just it wasn't there. That little bit, that last bit of quality from both sides just wasn't there. The game plan, I wasn't sure what was going on. A lot of long balls, and that led me to believe. Not so sure what's going on with the lineup there. If you're playing the long ball, you've got to have your big guy up front, and I think not starting Birgit for this one was a big issue for me. I think if you're going to play the long ball and you need somebody that's going to win those aerial duels and be a presence, I mean, he's your biggest player, he's your tallest guy. You got to throw him out there. You've got to use him, and it's like the puzzle pieces that were used didn't fit the final picture, so to speak. Wasn't thrilled with Amagat's play at all.
Oh, you mean all 40 minutes of it?
Yeah, no, just far too, not even the red card, just far too slow. I don't think that's the game to throw somebody into, especially somebody that's on the back end of their career, up there in age, just not with the program, just look completely out of place out there. I think we had better options on the bench, to be honest with you. And then, the red card, and then all of a sudden, everything just started to snowball.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to even pick a spot to really begin here, dude. But I think let's look at this tactically a little bit here, dude, because we know that, especially at Yankee Stadium, really no matter where the Red Bulls play, they come at it with a high press, no matter what. High energy, high press. And to be fair, dude, I think we did a relatively good job breaking that press. Dome's tactics were pretty much, hey, get that ball in deep and then switch the point of attack. And that's what seemed to kind of break it. The problem is that long passes and long balls are fantastic, but like you mentioned earlier, having nobody there to receive them is a problem. So you just wind up starting from scratch. For example, dude, we had Ebenezer Ofori playing essentially as a winger, and not good.
No,
not good at all.
Not technically skilled to play that position. Got a little bit of speed, but otherwise, I mean, he's not really combining that with skill. He's not really beating anybody. I mean, that's not his place. Honestly, I don't know what his place is, because the best thing I've seen him do is stand still. He doesn't really move, terribly when he's playing in the midfield. He's that pivot guy that, that extra pass, the extra touch, giving somebody a few extra seconds off the ball elsewhere. But other than that, I mean, he didn't really do too much for me. I think the style of play that was warranted there was great, and we implemented it. I just think that we did not follow through with that enough. I think there was more we could have done there. I think we could have pushed a few more players forward. Our backs really, our fullbacks really weren't in the play too much early on in the game, where they should have been. Being able to switch to play down the wings and stuff like that. And it looked like Red Bulls, they let up a little bit. When they know the ball's being booted, they're not going to sit there and let you, outnumber them down the field. They're smart. That's how you play that game. So if you're going to throw numbers out there, you got to remember that you're going to be met with numbers, and you have to have a strong midfield, and you have to have strong forwards that can win those balls. And it just seemed like every ball that was long either ended up 2 feet too short, or the first touch was awful and the ball just skips away. It just wasn't technically sound. It was very sloppy.
Yeah, and I think that comes with, you're playing people out of position where they would normally play. You're starting a brand new player that's, over the age of 30, who's never played before. And it was kind of like a recipe for disaster almost. And it could have been, right? Like, when you're playing with 9 men against the Red Bulls, that's a recipe for disaster. Like, that's absolutely insane. So I want to just give credit to the squad for being able to defend that draw with 9 men on the field. I mean, it's just, it was pretty impressive. Yeah, but that being said, we had our chances to actually win that game. And that's what I'm more upset about than the red cards. I'm more upset at the quality of finishing via cracking the bar a couple times or cracking the post a couple times. Rodney Wallace being absolutely atrocious, which we'll probably have a whole segment on that. Yes. Which is just gonna rain down the Wallace hate. But
I'm gonna call it the fork in soup segment.
Yeah. That's good. About as useful as a fork in soup.
Whatever you want to call it.
I mean, dude, this game was as sporadic as this episode feels to me right now. It's like, guy in the comments, guys, let us know, what your thoughts on the large scale, the small scale. You let us know what you think. Look, at the end of the day, this was a point that felt like 3. In my eyes, in the absolute crap show that took place with Ted Uncle giving 2 red cards, not giving a red card to Kamar Lawrence for punching Anton Tinnerholm in the face was a little silly, but this game was just a mess. The finishing was absolutely a joke. It's just unbelievable. Mark on Facebook is saying Wallace makes small children cry when he gets into the box. I'm going to say adults. I'll say grown men and everybody.
Anyone with a pulse. Anyone with a pulse, really.
Dude, he had the opportunity to put the game up, and he just totally flubbed it on an open net.
Let's not go too far. Let's talk about the red cards a little bit, because I know there's a lot of Uncle Teddy backlash here, but the first one for me, no question, it's a red card. Just you can't do it. You can't go in with your studs up. It's a stupid move. It's not necessary. You're taught not to do that, and that was just, I don't know if it was out of frustration or out of, listen, when you're slow, that's what you do. You tend to bring people down. You got to do something to give yourself an edge. That's not the thing you should do. You want to pull the jersey, that's fine. You want to do something to get a yellow, that's fine. Going in with your studs up is just stupid, and in an important game like that, you got to know better. This is not Europe, and honestly, in any league, you go in like that, it's a bad challenge, and a red is warranted. So I don't have a problem with that. I mean, I have a problem with the fact that we got one because it wasn't necessary, but
needless, yeah.
It's just, I'm okay with that call. The second one was a little bit harder because of how it happened. It was so weird to see it because when you watched it in real time, you just look like it looked like their legs got tangled together, and it just, it didn't look like a foul.
If you look at it again, dude, Ofori is not even looking at Bradley Wright Phillips. He's looking at the ball, which was played to the left of Bradley Wright Phillips in the head. Right. So, to me, that's not a red card. He was not the last defender, right? I think Chanot was in that scenario. And, they gave him the red for a serious foul, but I don't think there was as much in that one as there was for Amagats.
Yeah. Listen to all you, I'm a Gats.
Amugats.
That's it. That's exactly what it is. No, it's unfortunate, the timing, because it looked like Phillips slowed up a little bit. And that kind of threw the rhythm off, because if you're not focusing on Phillips and you're focusing on the ball, all of a sudden
you get tangled.
It's like a car stopping short in front of you, and you're paying attention to the car, next to you on the left. You're not going to have enough time to stop. So again, can I see it? Yes, because the studs went right into the back of the leg. But intent-wise, totally not intentional. I don't think you can decipher that at all. But again, that's the card you're dealt, and all of a sudden you're down two guys, and all of a sudden it's like the game's over. You're thinking there's no way they come out of this, just because it's the sheer numbers alone. Any team that's got two men on someone else should be able to beat them.
Well, if it's funny, dude, because and Joey on Facebook is talking about this, but Ted Unkel also gave 2 red cards to Colorado over the weekend, and RSL took it to Colorado, dude, and beat them 6-0. So I've commented a few times to people inside of like the Facebook groups and on Twitter and things like that. It's like, yeah, those 2 red cards were ridiculous, but I don't necessarily think that the red cards were ridiculous. I think we should be thankful that the result didn't end up very similar to the way the Colorado RSL game did, because it easily could have, just as easily as it could have turned away with us walking away with 3 points too, which is equally as disappointing. But yeah, dude, I think, and again, dude, I have to say, give credit to NYCFC for being able to hold it down. And listen, Bradley Wright Phillips, after the game, when he did his interview, his post-match, he had to give credit because they just couldn't get it done. They just couldn't get it done. Tyler on Facebook says, how about the red cards he didn't give to the Red Bulls? And listen, that's the problem. Dude, we talked about this before with referees. Referees' job is very difficult, right? The most difficult job I think referees have is being consistent. Because if Ted Unkel is consistent in that match, he gives Lawrence a red card, right? But he didn't. He gave him a yellow. Didn't even go to review it, where he went and reviewed Ofori's red card for all but 5 seconds. But my thing is consistency. When you're inconsistent like that,
he was standing right there.
When you're inconsistent like that, that's when I have a problem. I can understand. Listen, if you're calling fouls on us but not on the other team when you clearly should be, that's an inconsistency problem.
Yeah, there were 2 or 3, especially on Alex Ring. He got hit a couple times down the field when we had opportunities to create, and it wasn't called.
Dude, Alex Ring didn't pick up a yellow card.
It's a
in a derby that had 2 red cards. let's be thankful for that.
I'll tell you what, though, that sitting right there, I mean, Lawrence was right in front of us, and the pictures don't do it. I mean, it's not totally accurate. So it was more of like a fist or hand near the throat area.
It was like down
and
here.
then a push.
Yeah.
It wasn't a straight punch.
It wasn't a punch, no.
But anytime you put your hands to the face of another player, that's done. That's it, done.
Yeah.
Kaká, was joking around, and in that situation, and there was a red card given last season. That's the rule. Hands to the face, you're done. That's the second time we've played the Red Bull where we've had hands to the face or the neck or the throat area, and it hasn't been called. I'm sorry. You can go back and give red cards. Why wasn't one given?
Yep.
It's unbelievable. And you're right. I don't mind if you have a poor game, but have a poor game for both teams. Have a good game for both teams. With any refereeing in any sport, baseball, hockey, football, just be consistent. This way we have something to compare it to. If you're consistently bad, there's no excuses. The game is not taken away from you.
Yeah.
It's, you know what's going on, you know what's happening, and then it was a little bit one-sided, and I am not for that. I think Pro needs to do a better job. I think MLS needs to do a better job of who they pair up with what, because Ted Uncle lost full control of that game. In the first half, that game was completely just gone out of his hands.
I think there was 8 cards given. I'm trying to count them up.
It's just unheard of, unreal, unnecessary. Again, it's not an issue of the red cards. It's more of the non-ones that were supposed to be given and the missed fouls for one and not for the other. We were lucky to come away with the 1 point. We really needed 3. I mean, we're in pretty not bad shape, but I mean, it's going to be really difficult with our current form to get anywhere back up to the top. I don't see it happening with the way all 3 teams are playing right now.
No, dude, I mean, when you look at NYCFC's form, I think they've only won 1 out of their last 5. That's a problem.
Yeah. As much as this felt like a win, we really needed the 3 points. 3 points would have set us up a little bit better. The tie was nice for them not to get the 3 points, but they're still what's the standings look like? Hold on here. Let's pull them up here.
While you do that, dude, I want to comment about something that Dome said in his post-match interview after this game. He said something, and I wish I could pull up the video. I just remembered it like while we were talking. I wish I could pull up the video. But he basically said how he wants to play with wingers, but we don't really have wingers. He literally said that. And then he said our players are amazing, but he said we have no real wingers. And I wish I could find the quote. Anthony Merced is joining us, dude, saying Torin has shown that he can't manage a first team. Formations keep changing and offense isn't clicking. Anthony, if you can find me the quote, because you're in here, I'm going to make you work if you can. Find me the quote from Dome in the post-match presser regarding Dome saying we have no wingers. Dude, do you agree with that? And in the comments, let us know. Do you agree with what Dome had said about us not having true wingers?
Maybe he means ringers.
Yeah. Joey is saying, Jonathan Lewis. Maybe I should rephrase that. We have no wingers that are allowed to play.
I don't know how. I mean, I really don't know what to say. I don't know how you could say that. I mean, do you have guys that can only play the wing and that's it? No, we don't have that. We don't have players that can stick to one spot and that's it. Everyone pretty much can play anywhere. Ring can play center mid. He can play D mid. He can play center back.
But doesn't that cause problems, dude? Doesn't that cause problems with the head coach in being able to pick formations and sticking to an identity? I mean, dude, I'm not comparing New York City to Manchester City, but I'm comparing Dome to Pep because that's what everybody seems to be comparing him to because he was his right-hand man. He is not leading this team in the way that Pep would. Pep he has a very clear identity in the way that he plays. Dome has a clear identity that he doesn't know what that identity is game to game. We don't know what kind of team or lineup or formation or attack we're going to see from our players, which, yes, dude, even if you have players that can fit multiple roles, there comes a point where that chemistry is going to get affected, like Joey's actually saying on Facebook.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think this is the biggest problem with bringing a coach in middle of the season. You're starting from preseason again, where, look, we're having very much preseason-like woes, where you can't find the lineup. You're playing people who haven't played before. You thought the lineup was deep. All of a sudden, throw in a few red cards and a few injuries, and your team is completely depleted. And I'll talk about that a little bit later on because it really warrants a cry for a second team in a different division just to be able to stockpile some players because it seems to happen every year. You can have as much depth as you want, and all of a sudden, 3 guys are out injured, 2 guys get carded, 1 guy misses a suspension game, and next thing you know, you're playing a 33-year-old who's never touched a major league field before.
Yeah.
Who may think he looks like Iniesta, but doesn't play like Iniesta.
Not even close.
But going back to the points, I mean, look, we would have had 50 points. Red Bull would have had 51 right now. So that race would have been a lot tighter. We would have been, 3 points or 4 points behind Atlanta at this point. It's very much tangible. Very much tangible. Now, it's a little bit harder.
Dude, it's not going to be tangible if you're winning 20% of your games.
Yeah, no, absolutely not. And again, there's all these different things come down to you've got to be able to take it one game at a time, one half at a time, and you have to be able to find the recipe of players that works together. And honestly, go back and watch games. Go back and watch film if you can't figure it out because there were points in the season where the team was clicking very, very well. And I'm sorry, but the loss of one player cannot derail an entire club. Look at the case of David Villa. We missed him for most of the year, and we won most of those games. Having him here, is it a bad thing? Absolutely not. I don't think players are going back too far to that, trying to find David all the time. But if you want to play, now Turan's talking about playing with 2 strikers. Well, now you got to figure out what formation you're going to use because you can't play with 2 wingers and strikers. You got 5 guys up in the front of the freaking field. You've got to figure something out. You've got to, you can't put the square pegs in round holes. You've got to figure out who fits where. And I mean, you've got to do it in training and maybe have more scrimmages or something like that. But if you don't figure it out fast enough, we're going to be in deep doo-doo.
I think we also have to take into consideration that we are in New York and that New Yorkers expect things at a much faster rate, I think than other markets might. But, dude, I want to get to a couple of the Facebook comments here. Tyler is saying he has been with our team for 2 months. Give him time to learn what these players are capable of. I agree. Listen, I'm not blaming him really. I'm just questioning the changes, right? Dante on Facebook, dude, is asking, "Are you happy with the result?" My answer is, all things considered, yeah. I mean, would I have wanted 3 points? Do I think we should have had 3 points based on the opportunities we had? Yes. But am I happy with not getting obliterated 4, 5, 6 to 1? 100%.
Yeah, I will. I'll tell you what. If we can win the next 2 or 3 games in a row, because this game propelled us to do so, I will be more and more thrilled with this game. But I'm happy with it. I'm happy that we didn't lose. But leaving that game, it was more. You were excited that you got the point and you held on, and you pretty much. It wasn't like Red Bull missed their chances. We stopped everything.
Sean Johnson made 5 saves, 6 saves. Let me pull up the stat while you're making that point, dude.
Yeah, it's insane.
5 saves. 5 saves.
That and the defense just blocking with Chanot and Ibiaga. Ibiaga had one of his best games in a blue shirt. I mean, he was unreal. Now you know you can play these guys together, and it's not a problem. I mean, they're fantastic, but it comes down to the final thing. The final ball has to be there, and I just think the selection of certain players needs to be changed. Rodney Wallace does not do anything good for this club. He had a clear open net. He could have walked the ball in. He could have chested it and walked it in. Instead, he goes for his foot and boots it over the net. Not only did he screw that up, honestly, all he had to do was pass Villa the ball. A nice through ball to Villa, and Villa was one-on-one with Robles, and that game is over, 2-1, no problem. Twice on the same play, he screwed it up. At what point do you, again, he says he doesn't want to put the young guys in tough situations. It's sink or swim, dude. It is sink or swim. Eventually, you're going to have to learn how to swim without the swimmies on. So it can't be all rainbows and lollipops. Throw the guy in and see what he can do against adversity. He's not going to. He's to be thrilled to play. He's going to give you his 110%. And if the team fails, it's a team thing. It's not going to be because of that person. Aside from making glaring mistakes, which I don't think a mistake on that side of the field where Jonathan Lewis plays is going to end up in the back of our net. All things considered, but again, you've got to see everybody, give everybody a fair shake, see what they can do. Pick the guy who's going to give you the most energy, who's going to give you the most life, because at times we don't look lively at all.
Dude, Christian is making
on the field.
Christian's making a good point though on Facebook. He's saying that if he doesn't want to play the kids in big games, then why are new players getting the starts?
Because they're not kids.
I'm sorry, dude. Tati is.
No, you're right. But I'm thinking kids as far as experience goes. Lewis really only played a handful of games. I'm pretty sure Tati played a lot more games in a starting role Torquay, where he came from. Amagat played for the last 75 years before soccer was even played with a ball.
He was playing with a leather ball.
Yeah, exactly. That's sewn together by hand. I think that's part of the rift too. I don't think the players appreciate that. I don't think the players appreciate these new guys coming in and all of a sudden just claiming stake because they've played, Dome style more. If anything, you guys should be learning from each other and trying to make each other better. And I just feel like certain players coming in and again, did Amagat need to play? No. I mean, you could have played Tommy Mack. You could have played, I don't know who else was available that night. You could have put Lewis and moved somebody around.
Stuver? Stuver in the midfield?
Stuver in the midfield. Sounds like a great sitcom. I don't know how much longer. Again, you want to give him an ample amount of time to figure it out, to get all the pieces together, to get one lineup moving forward without the constant jumble. And at the same time, you're in a pinch because you don't want to lose position in the table. But I will say this. I would much rather him not be able to figure it out over the next 3 or 4 games, but be able to figure out over the last 3 or 4 games and go in hot. Because if you're going to go and fumbling like this, we have no chance. Playing game or no, we don't have a shot playing this way. It's just not going to happen for us. No. I would prefer this team get on some sort of a hot streak before this season ends in order to give us some kind of a boost and some kind of confidence going forward. And right now, again, was it nice to get that tie on Wednesday? Yeah. Would it have been nicer to play again on Saturday and maybe kind of ride that out? Yeah. I feel like this time off is kind of like a lull. I know players were exhausted and some guys went on vacation, and honestly, most of them partied with us Thursday afternoon at the Adidas store in the city, which was amazing. But you could tell those guys were just like ready for downtime. And now all of a sudden we've got 3 games in 8 days, like 2 or 3 different times.
Yeah, that's September. And listen, there's a lot of teams dealing with that. I mean, the World Cup break was big this year. We can't discount that, but
it's rough.
But
I don't know. This is just I don't have good feelings.
I'm not feeling that fantastic. I'm not feeling that fantastic. Prove me otherwise on Saturday night against Columbus, because that'll be a very good game to watch.
Yes.
Who was the dude of the match?
Guys,
start putting the comments in. Let us know, who did you think was the dude of the match?
Who was your dude?
For the Hudson River Derby last Wednesday?
Who was your dude of the match, dude?
Who was mine?
Yeah.
One of the Blue Man Group guys.
Yes. Yes.
I don't know. Yes. Hey, dude, my mom is in here. She says Maxime Chanot. She's voting for Chanot.
Go Chanot. That's not bad. I don't have a problem with. This is a tough one.
Okay.
This is a tough one because it can go to like 4 different guys.
It can. Here, I'm gonna make a case for one player. We've got some votes for Ibeagha coming in here, dude. I'm gonna put this one on Sean Johnson, because if not for his 5 saves, that game is 6-1. Okay. Yeah, a couple of votes here for Ibeagha. Ibeagha did do a good job of neutralizing BWP. I will definitely say that. But who you got? I'm still sticking with Sean Johnson, but I want to hear everybody else's.
That's fine.
Can I read a comment?
Go for it.
Joey on Facebook says Burgett due to the match for those 7 minutes. I mean, dude, we got 9 guys we could choose from here.
I feel
essentially
bad. On that play specifically, I feel bad because he did everything right, and you could see that him and Villa playing together up at the top could form a crazy tandem of like
only when they're down to 10 men,
like Danny DeVito and Arnold Schwarzenegger in
twins.
It's a great combination. For me, listen, you could give it to Villa, but Villa was doing Villa things. I don't think it was out of the ordinary. I think the fact that we were able to stop everything that was thrown at the net, whether it be because of Sean Johnson or the defense, I'm not going to give it to the fullbacks because they didn't have a great night on offense, but on defense they weren't terrible. Just because Sean Johnson's come up so big this season on a regular basis, I'm going to have to go with Ibeagha. I think he's earned it. He hasn't got one all season. As far as him and Chanot, they were both on point. They played very well.
You got to give credit there, dude. I agree with you. You know, thinking about it, he's used to playing with Collins. You've never seen the Chanot Ibeagha duo on the same pitch at the same time, right? So like you got to give credit to both center backs, honestly, for being able to pull that out, you know. And listen, the fact that one of our defenders didn't get a red card was a miracle. But you know, I want to just bring that up too. That you know, we're so used to seeing Alex Collins, and so is Ibeagha, and the fact that he was able to neutralize the Red Bull, or to neutralize Bradley Wright Phillips, I should say, for most of the game is very impressive.
Playing in a different spot too, because he was playing more on the left, right, where he's used to playing on the right. So I'm with the people on this one. I'd like to give it to him. I think he deserves it. I think his play was warranted, and he got team. Did he get team of the week?
He
might have got team of the week. Let me find that out for you. So where's Rod? Where is Roddy?
Yeah, Roddy Russell's not. I don't think Roddy Russell's in this stream. He hasn't commented yet, at least not that I've seen. Tyler on Facebook says Maxey also deserves credit for consistent link-up play. Tyler, we talk about Maxey a lot in the fact that I don't think Maxey has gotten due to the match yet, but really only because, kind of like Alex Ring, he does what he does every single game. Like he's very, very consistent in that regard. So it's really hard. And it sounds terrible, right? Like it sounds terrible that we can't give it to him because he's just too consistent. Like you want to see out of the ordinary. When you're talking about due to the match, you want to see something that's out of the ordinary that really contributed to the result of the match. That's why I can give it to Sean Johnson, but I also agree, and I think we should give it to Ibeagha simply for, you know, what we were just talking about. But that's why Maxey, it's hard.
It's that out of the ordinary. It's that extra little. Maxey won April 12th, by the way.
Oh, he did? Okay, good.
Yeah, he did. So he's got one. We actually have a whole bunch to fill in because we missed a couple, but
wow.
Oh boy. Yeah, I think Ibiaga gets it.
All right, let's get
Just for
to
the
it.
fact that
Let's get to it.
it's that above and beyond.
We're coming up on the 36th minute here, dude. We got to move on here. Sebastian Ibiaga, congratulations. You got due to the match with Hudson River Derby. Can we stop talking about this stupid game now and look to other things that are fun and exciting in MLS? Oh, dude, really quick, I want to just bring something up here. Okay, so there's some rumblings on social media that there is a focus group being requested for a stadium.
Yeah, that's like the sixth one over the last 3 years.
I don't particularly know about that, but guys in the comments, let us know what you think about this. But dude,
we've gotten emails before.
I am not reading into this at all. The stadium people are gonna like salivate over this, and they're hunting for either something to be angry at or something to be really excited about. And I'm standing in the middle in the I don't give a crap column because it's season ticket renewal time.
Yeah.
The time where we're projecting to lose season ticket holders. This is just, I don't want to call it a PR play, but it's a PR play.
Yeah. Again, we have gotten emails about this over at least 3 or 4 times over the last 3 or 4 years. Maybe not always at the same time of year, but we do get them quite frequently. Again, you can't look too much into it. Why get your hopes up at this point? Just focus on the season and we'll worry about it afterwards.
I will have hope when there's an official announcement. We've said it over and over again, dude.
Yeah.
Over and over again.
Until a shovel's in the ground, I'm not going to believe anything.
That's it. That's really it, man. I people are getting up in arms about this, and dude, I don't know. Jorge says we're undefeated at home. Why move?
This makes good amount of sense.
He's not wrong. He's absolutely not wrong. But yeah, I don't know. I'm just not. I'm not.
It's like Patrick. Why don't we take Yankee Stadium and move it over here?
Oh my gosh! So that's all right. All right, that qualifies as us talking about that, right? Mm-hmm. The last thing I will leave here on Facebook. Joey on Facebook is saying, do you realistically think that we will have an official announcement by the end of next full season? I don't know, and honestly, why is somebody like trying to call me here? Do you realistically think we'll have an official announcement by the end of next season? I don't know, and I don't care. You know what I mean? Like, at this point,
It's hard. It's hard to care about something that's constantly brought up and not brought up and then swept under the rug.
But even if they did, what are
you're
still looking 2, 3, 4 years out.
Yeah, easily. And again, I think right now, as a fan, I am more focused on the team winning and growing fans. And I know not having a stadium is one of the setbacks, but there are other things that you can do, winning being one of them, to kind of, get the juices flowing.
We've talked about this before, dude, ad nauseum.
So we have to it's just, do you want to keep getting upset, or do you want to kind of try to make the best of it at this point? People who are dropping their season tickets because there's no stadium announcement. Do you think land grows on trees?
In New York City it does.
It's not easy, and there's so much litigation and so many people fighting you. People will fight you on everything if you try to build something in New York City.
Yeah.
People don't want change. People are very afraid of change. They're always afraid of what's going to happen to them. And honestly, most of the time, it's pretty much a positive impact. You're not really mass relocating anybody with this project if you do it in the Bronx where they said it would. You're taking an old building and a parking garage down, and you're providing more homes for people. You're providing more jobs. You're providing more revenue for the city, taxable revenue that helps the city maintain everything that they have to maintain.
Yeah.
So, again, when it happens, it happens. But for now, you have a soccer team that plays within the 5 boroughs that you can root for that has nothing to do with an energy drink.
That's it. We got to move on. No more of this. All right, Josef Martinez. Dude.
That guy.
Smashing records, scoring goals like it's his job. I think he now has 28 goals in 26 matches now.
Yeah. That's
Dear
impressive.
God, that's insane.
That's impressive.
So he's officially broken the all-time leading single-season goal-scoring record, previously held by Bradley Wright Phillips and Chris Wondolowski and Wondolowski. And one other MLS player, and I cannot remember who it is. I'm having a total brain fart here. I believe there was 3 players that held that record prior to Josef Martinez. Here's the scary part, dude. Here's the really scary part.
They got
8 games left. So
there's a lot of games left. That man is just a freak of nature.
It is unbelievable. Now, did you watch the game? Did you watch them?
I saw the goal.
Okay.
I did not watch the game. I saw the goal.
So it was looking like it was Atlanta against Orlando, which again, rivalry week. Playing at Orlando City Stadium.
Those fans hate each other.
It's kind of funny.
Like detestfulness. Like it's bad. But go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was one of those situations where you knew the record was on the line, right? Like you knew that a goal would change it. And it felt like for me, and if anybody else in the comments watched the game, comment and let me know if you felt the same way. I felt like they were really trying to get Josef Martinez the ball because they like more than their normal game plan, if that makes sense, right? And it just wasn't working. And then all of a sudden, it worked. Absolutely. Thank you, Joey Roy Lassiter. Thank you so much for. Thank you so much. Then all of a sudden, it came out of nowhere, dude. He dribbles into the box, cuts back. Joe Bendik dives, chips it over, and then just kind of looks at Joe Bendik, saying, "How about that? How about that?" No, there's no denying that. There's no denying that Josef Martinez is an absolute beast. There is no denying that Tyler is saying they broke Orlando. There is no denying that Atlanta is going to be a MLS Cup contender for sure. One of the best expansion teams probably of all time in this league, dude.
Yeah, I would say so. And to do it in a short period of time is quite impressive. Now, don't get me wrong. They've spent plenty of money to do so. And it just so happened that all the money they spent has worked out for them.
Paying off.
Which is very good. It's a very good investment, especially if they win. But they still have to win. They haven't won anything yet. So they got plenty of time left. They've got, will they probably seal up first place? I think so. I think they're just too good to give up that spot. So kudos to them. But playoffs are a different animal. They're going to be playing 2-legged games, and the away goals. I mean, listen, we've played them pretty hard. We played them pretty hard both games. So they're not unbeatable. They're not unbeatable, but they are playing extremely well, and they've kept their form the entire season, which is plausible. I mean, you have to really just give them a round of applause because they have. I mean, just been solid the entire year. Averaging more than two points a game is unbelievable.
Dude,
listen, when you got a guy who's going to score freaking 35 goals in a season in 34 games, it's just unreal. It is unreal.
Jorge on Facebook. Jorge is saying maybe it's a Serie A thing because Javinko and Martinez both came from over there, which is interesting. Tyler says Atlanta is going to tank if Martinez gets hurt. I think he's literally made out of steel.
He just might be. He's
right?
Like the Terminator. That would be a cool poster, like him as a Terminator. That one red eye, that goal scoring eye.
A different Joey on Facebook saying what I would give for NYCFC to even get to a place that we would be playing Atlanta.
You might have to play him.
Yeah.
Listen,
you might not have a choice, really.
No, you might have to. And do I want to? Probably not.
Yeah.
At this point, we really need to just focus on ourselves. You can't be table watching at this point. Now you have to kind of like start from the beginning and half by half, game by game, and work at it that way.
Yeah.
And just hope that you can win 2 or 3 before the playoffs start and roll in that way because. Listen, you want to win every game between now and then and roll in that way? That's fine too. I could take that.
Yeah, I'll take that too. That leads us into stoppage time, dude.
Yes.
We've got a couple minutes of stoppage time, and here's what I like to bring up, dude, because I've been thinking a lot about this, and I don't want to open up a gigantic can of worms here, but I'm going to open up a gigantic can of worms. Are playoffs a good thing? Now, I will state my case. My case, and then feel free to debate, agree, disagree. That goes for you people watching live and listening on the podcast as well. You have a team like Atlanta. Better yet. Let's look at last season. Let's look at the season that Toronto FC had last year. Ridiculous winning record, and absolutely crushing it all season long. Supporter Shield contenders and just absolutely crushing it. You get in the playoffs, and then the New England Revolution smoke everybody for 6 games and are crowned the best club in MLS. Now, there's my problem with it. That is my problem with the playoff system as it stands. Now, I understand the United States wants to be different from the rest of the world in the soccer realm, and I get that, and we're doing a lot of other things different from the rest of the soccer world. But dude, you look at a team like Atlanta, who by almost leaps and bounds is playing better than most teams in the league to get to the playoffs, only to have Real Salt Lake have a chance to be crowned the best club in MLS based on 6 matches, doesn't make sense to me. Am I crazy? Or is there some sense of sanity there?
I think, you look at it, any other league, any other European league, major league, the finishing first place overall, top of the table, is, I think, more coveted than the the tournament trophy, Serie A specifically, the Scudetto is given to the first place team overall out of the entire table, and then the Coppa Italia is pretty similar to our U.S. Open Cup. So we're the only league that does this, and I think it's because America likes the underdog's ability to fight back. Look at Major League Baseball. You never had a wild card game, and then all of a sudden you had a wild card game, and now a wild card team. Now all of a sudden you have 2 wildcard teams in a playing game, and you're trying to build that excitement. You're trying to build that excitement and show that even if you didn't have the greatest season, you can still win the championship. Now, is it really a championship? I don't know, because soccer is really not like that. It's very different. You can have international championships where you play in teams from other countries. You can have domestic championships where you win a tournament with all your country's, teams. Like the Coppa Italia or the U.S. Open Cup.
But those are tournaments, dude, and they're comparing to Champions League in the comments. Those are tournaments. Those are cups. Right. I understand.
Right. So for us, for all intents and purposes, the best team in the league is the Supporters Shield winner. They are the best team. However, because we want to make this an American sport, we're going to implement a playoff system and play for a cup. Now, it's not a tournament per se, because it kind of is a tournament, and you have to finish at certain places in this table to get to that tournament, but it's a fairly short tournament to play in, and that tournament means more than the regular season. It's interesting. It's a very American thing. It's very much giving underdogs opportunity to create excitement, to generate excitement in the sport.
But you have 34 matches to do that. You have 34 matches to do that in a regular season.
Okay. All right. So I put it to you this way: would you rather the season just end in October?
With a clear-cut champion and
Well,
not have I
that's fine,
understand
but listen,
why.
Well, what if okay, so let's say next year Atlanta runs away with it and they're crowned champion with 7 weeks left to play, 8 weeks left to play, with half the season left to play.
Happens.
It does happen.
Okay, so why are we okay with it happening to Juventus or to Manchester City, but we're not okay with it happening here?
No, I understand your point. I'm just telling you from what the American standpoint is that all of our other major sports do it where you don't have to have the greatest season. You have to play well enough to get to a certain spot.
Okay, but dude,
there are trophies. Every league is given trophies for first place teams. The Rangers got it a few years ago when they went to the Stanley Cup. Those trophies, for some reason, first place trophies in America mean less than a playoff trophy.
Okay, but this is not baseball. This is not football or basketball or hockey.
It's not. You're right. And I think that's where they want to be.
And it's also newer. It's also newer than all of those sports in this country.
Yes.
Right?
No,
I mean, let's call it what it is.
It's newer,
Dude,
but
Don Garber wants 28 teams by what, like 2026? What the hell's the playoffs going to look like when there's 28 teams in the league? And you have no pro rel.
Yeah, it's going to be harder to get
Come on.
It'll be more difficult to fight your way into those playoff positions. You're going to obviously that, but I think it's a very American thing. You want this to be an American sport. You don't want it to be 100% compared to Europe because let's face it, this league has a long way to go before it ever gets there. I don't think removing the playoffs does this league any justice. I think it creates a few more weeks of soccer for us to watch. I think it gives all clubs a little bit of hope. And then listen, again, if you finish, I can give you the argument. If you finish in the Supporters' Shield, you should have no problem winning the cup.
But
if you're the best team, you should have no problem winning the cup.
You're absolutely right. You are 100% right. But look at, not last year, but look at the year before. And look at the year before that.
Oh, Seattle, yeah, of course.
Okay? And Portland. Late runs into the playoffs, sneaking in, and then just smoking it in the playoffs. When you have teams like FC Dallas that had a Supporters' Shield that couldn't make it past, I think, the group stage. Like, dude, it just doesn't, I don't know. To me, it doesn't make sense. I'm getting like, the more I pay attention to European soccer, the more the way that we do things is bothering me, especially with the amount of expansion that this league wants to get to. That it's going to be a cluster, dude. Like with these two, what are you going to have now? 4 conferences? Like what are we doing?
Listen, again, there's not much wrong with that. It's just that you have to remember too, every league in Europe is prestigious. The Bundesliga, the Serie A, the La Liga, Ligue 1, they're all prestigious leagues. We don't have that here. It's not the same. The leagues are not as prestigious as they are over there. So when you can have a Champions League where all these powerhouses are playing against each other, it's fantastic.
We have that.
It's not the same. Come on.
It's not the European Champions League. It's not even close. The teams are not even close. But I'm saying we have that ability here. Like, we have that offering, I should say, not that ability. Because we're not, dude, I am in no way, and for all the people listening and watching, I am no way comparing MLS to every other league in Europe because the quality is just not even close.
But I think that's why they can afford to do it the way they do it, because you have the international play, you have the international competition to do that. You have those extra games built into the season. If you don't have that here, because let's face it, only 1 or 2 of our teams get in. It's not like 3 or 4, depending on what country you're from, 3 or 4 teams get in. Sometimes 5 teams get in, depending on where you are. So here, it's like, you need to have the top 3 teams go in every year, and they don't do that anymore. They want to do it differently because of, the way federations are sanctioned and things like that. If you had the ability to play more games, and the Open Cup is not really,
I do not count that.
It's tough, but again, though the equivalent of that cup in other leagues it holds a little bit of power. You know, the Copa del Rey, the Copa Italia, those cups, they mean something, but they don't mean as much as finishing first place. I kind of like the Americanization of it. I like having a chance to win, even though you didn't finish first place. You know, playoffs are a different animal, and you're playing two different seasons.
It's
entertaining. 2 different seasons. Listen, so you call it regular season champions. That's what you were, winning first place. Now all of a sudden we're gonna have the 6 best teams from each side play each other to determine a true second season champion, if you will, and that's the MLS Cup champion. It's a cup champion, and you can. It's tough. It's so stupid talking.
Dude. So now you're talking. So now there's 2 trophies that are equally weighted the same. I don't think American soccer fans treat the Supporters Shield the same way they treat MLS Cup.
No, and I think every sport is like that. Every
sport,
dude,
listen,
ultimate championship is treated differently than first place championship.
How pissed off are you going to be when NYCFC wins the Supporters Shield and then gets knocked out in the first round by the 6th seed?
Oh, listen, I get pissed off when
you know what I mean?
I get pissed when we win. So you can't use me as an option. You can't make me answer these questions. But again, I can see where people dislike it. I can see where people do like it. What are some of the people in the group think? I want to hear what their rationale might be.
Oh God, I gotta go back through some comments here because quite a few of them have come through. But for the most part, I see a lot of comments kind of supporting the playoffs as the American thing. I don't really see many people agreeing with me, which is okay. I kind of like that. That's kind of why I start.
See, now you're the underdog, and you need a playoff.
I need a friggin' play. All right, find me 11 other people to go up against. I'll take them all down.
The podcast playoffs.
But no, I mean, look. Jorge on Facebook says the Western Conference this year is not as strong as the Eastern Conference. That's why we need playoffs. To me, that's not a reason why we need playoffs. The fact that the fact that you have conferences is not a reason to have playoffs. Like, you know what I mean? Because listen, if you're FC Dallas sitting on 46 points, you're technically in 4th place. You have a shot at winning the Shield mathematically. You know what I mean? So like, it's just, you know, I'm trying to poke a little bit. I'm trying to poke the bear a little bit here, but you know, my whole thing is if you're a team like Atlanta who comes in and then gets knocked out by Philly, you're very upset as an Atlanta United fan because your season was monstrous and you lose because the other team scored more away goals. Champions League or other tournaments aside, for MLS Cup, you're pretty pissed if you're any other team that's the Supporters Shield that doesn't chase the cup. It's just the way it goes. Now, I'm not saying that you got to be a sore loser. I'm just saying that, you know, the way that the system is set up, I follow a lot of European soccer. That's just, you know, that's just me. That's how I am. I'm a big EPL fan. I'm a big Serie A fan, and to watch Manchester City make a cup run and absolutely smoke it all season, to have them lose it to Huddersfield is madness to me. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of the lens that I'm looking at this through. Not comparing teams to teams here. I'm not, because you can't. But format wise, you know, I'm watching Atlanta's form and I'm watching the way that they're playing, and they went out last season in a fashion that they just shouldn't have went out in, and that's you know, it could happen again this year. So that's all. That's all. The only reason why I wanted to bring it up. We went into 15 minutes of stoppage time for that, dude, and that was kind of my plan, because
listen, it's a good topic for debate, and we can continue this on social media afterwards, or you know, whenever we really want, because
send the hate emails.
There's no right answer, though. It's just opinion. It's strictly opinion. There's no right or wrong answer, because both kind of get the job done. Both are exciting in their own rights. And I mean, listen, you could play for 2 or 3 different cups when you're playing in some of these different leagues, which is fantastic. But it's which one you weigh the most on, and we weigh the most, you know, the most on the playoffs one. And again, it's not a thing that happens in Europe because there's not multiple sports with multiple teams like that. It's an American thing, and it's what differentiates our soccer, aside from the talent and the travel and pretty much everything else, from the European side. Again, I do think if you had more games to play during the season, where you have played international tournaments and tournaments that meant a little bit more than the $250,000 you get, for the U.S. Open Cup or whatever it is. I think if you have more of those, then maybe you look at it differently. But I think right now this is the American way of doing things, and this is our American twist on soccer, which makes it our own. And again, I mean, listen, wouldn't you find it cool to see a European playoffs of the 6 top teams and seeing what goes on? Couple extra games at the end of the season, determining another cup winner.
What, in the month and a half that they have off? Like, I don't know. Maybe. Dude, I gotta get to one final comment here, and then I gotta wrap it up here. Joey on Facebook, shout out to James Sands for 2 USL starts this past week and a nice assist. So, I didn't follow this dude, and I don't know if you did, but shout out to James Sands because Joey says so.
No, but we need him to come back. We need players.
That's great, James, but come back.
We need bodies. We need bodies.
Yeah, we really do. Yeah. Hey, dude, listen, thank you all for watching and listening to episode 120 of the Dudes in Blue. We really do appreciate it. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter if you don't already. Leave us a review on Facebook and iTunes, no matter how you watch and or listen to us. We'll be back here Monday night at 8 p.m. for episode 121 after the Columbus Crew match in Columbus, dude.
That's also Labor Day weekend, so finish off your Labor Day barbecue. At the barbecue, turn us on.
Yes, that's right.
You're eating your ribs, you're licking your fingers there. Turn us on, watch us, and we'll be happy during your barbecue.
Absolutely. So yeah, we will be doing a Labor Day show because what else are we going to do? We can get 8 o'clock on Labor Day, and we will be back for 121. So make sure to join us there. Send all of your hate mail and love mail to joe@dudesinblue.com if you guys agree or disagree with my opinions on having no playoffs in the MLS. And we'll be back next week. But until then, dude, stay blue.